Well, hello, viewers and listeners. My name is Liz Gracia, and it's High Vibe Tribe Video Book Review Month here at the Mind, Body, Spirit Network. It's June of 2019, in case you're wondering when this is recorded. June 11th, 2019. Ooh, the 11th. It's always a good one. And every month we gather together with some of our network members to share some of our favorite reads. So if you listeners or viewers out there want some tips from healers and people that are actually in the field of healing and whatever it is that we all collectively do, we have some great reads that kind of inspire us for our own work. And today is no exception. We got some good reads for you today. So first up, we're going to have Liz Bigger. Liz, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and then share your book of the day, of the month.
Absolutely. Thanks, Liz. I'm Liz Bigger, and I'm the owner of Butterfly Healing and Wellness, and I am a holistic healer, and I help my clients heal through transformation to where anything and everything is possible. I'm located in Stafford, Virginia, but I do a lot of my healing over the internet and on the phone, so I'm accessible to the world. The book I chose today it's a revised, it actually has a couple copies, but it's Eastern Body, Western Mind, and I'm trying to get it so you can see what it looks like. It's just a really pretty cover of the book, and it's by Anodea Judith. And I'm into the chakras, as you know, but this was interesting because it says it's the psychology of the chakra system as the path to the self. And so what's really interesting about this book is it starts out and she talks a little bit about how she discovered the chakras, and so it's a little bit about herself. And then it has kind of an overall, in the beginning has an overall depiction of the chakras and what they are and how they contribute to our well-being, our bodily dysfunction, emotional dysfunction, intellectual dysfunction. And then after that, she goes into like a very in-depth description of each one of the chakras. And what I really love about it is it's one of the few books that has so much information on the chakras from so many different perspectives. So when I'm looking for, help with a chakra, this is one of my go-to books just to see what she has to say on it, because a lot of times it will kind of kick my intuition off or lead me down the right path to find what might be going on with one of my clients and their chakras. And then the really cool thing is it's more than just, she has a lot of charts in there, and that's what I love about it. There's just a lot of charts, so you can kind of like see it at a glance, but then it's more than just the charts. It has a lot of explanation on every chart, and that really helps me to discern, especially for myself, if I'm looking for myself, because certain people who come from certain patterns in their life, in their childhood, in their birth, are going to have different dysfunctions in their chakras. And so she basically pinpoints that in a lot of her charts. One of the really interesting things I found was, because I did a little social work before I became a holistic healer, and she actually lines up the chakras with a lot of the leading and historical psychological experts, like Freud and Jung and like all these people, and how the development of people from birth until now, how when you have issues in certain times of your development, it's going to show up in different chakras. So like if you had a difficult birth and you have issues in your in the beginning part of your life, like 0 to 6 months, I think it is, that's going to show up in your root chakra. And I thought that was just so interesting how she did that comparison and contrast with that, because and then I think that's why she says Western mind, because that is how in the Western society we understand the psyche. That's how we understand our bodies. And so for her to line it up with the Eastern way of looking at it, our bodies, with the chakra system, it just really helps to see. They really coincide very well. So, and you can really, it makes sense because of the way we've been brought up to know, we know Freud and we know all these other psychologists. So she really applies that to the chakras, and it really helps to see how that chakra interacts and creates either well-being or dysfunction in your life, in your body.
So Liz, you're saying that Freud and other like well-known psychiatrists said the same thing, but she's just mapping it to what they have said. So she's mapping what they found with the chakra. right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but it's not only, she's mapping it to the chakra as far as like the psyche too, but she's also mapping it as to how those psychological things manifest in our bodies.
Right.
So it's not just the psychological, because I believe that every illness has a emotional, intellectual, spiritual root.
Right.
Every, even if you fall down and hurt yourself, I believe there is some kind of psychological, intellectual, spiritual root to that. So so that's exactly what she does. And she also describes how our society growing up, and especially America, just with our early Quaker thought processes, our, very not expressing ourselves type society where, it's like it caused dysfunction in our bodies, especially our sacral chakra. Like if, the fact that we're not free necessarily, like some people do it, but most people don't. Everyone's just like buttoned up and, we keep our opinions to ourselves and we don't cause waves and everybody's polite. And that is just horrible for our sacral chakra, because we need to be able to express ourselves, and our throat chakra. So when she talks about all of that, and so she lines it up with Western society as well. So not just the psychologists in the Western, but also the society, our societal norms, and how those affect our chakra systems. She also does this really cool body chart, and it kind of shows like the different postures, and you can see like based on how people are built or how they stand, like it kind of tells you like what kind of chakra issues they probably have going on.
Now, isn't this, when you're hunching, isn't that a heart issue or not?
I'm not remembering it right now exactly what that was, but it's almost all of them. There's just one or two that don't have some kind of heart issue.
Yeah.
The heart really is the center. And I'm glad you brought that up, because it's so interesting, because in my intuition, I've had like a picture in my mind of how the energy flows when I'm doing Reiki on someone or I'm doing a chakra clearing. And so I just have this picture in my mind of how the energy flows. And she actually has a chart that shows how the chakras interact with each other. And they almost all flow through the heart chakra.
Oh.
And that is what I've been seeing. And it's a little different configuration in her chart, but it just made so much sense to me when I saw it. I was just like, yes, that's what I've been seeing. So that makes sense to me. It made a lot of sense to me. And the chakras all interact with each other. You really can't, just like any other Eastern healing system, you can't really just work on one. Like they interact with each other. So if you have a dysfunction in one, there's a chance you've got something going on with another one too. And the energy needs to flow freely through all of them and throughout your body. So it makes sense that you would need to see how the energy flows through each one and how they kind of interact with each other and balance with each other.
Now, Liz, didn't you say that like the sacral, every chakra has its match? So the sacral is the match, goes with the throat. So the two of them, if one's out of whack, it's likely the other one's out of whack.
Usually, I mean, that's what I see. That's what I see.
Okay.
When they balance, they usually balance crown to root, third eye. I'm sorry, it's third eye to chakra, to sacral. Third eye to sacral.
Third eye to sacral, right.
Yeah, and then the heart. Yeah, when I see a lot of dysfunction in the solar plexus in the throat, it's usually lack of courage or inability to speak your truth based on lack of courage.
Yeah.
So and I see, and the heart anchors it all. When I'm working, it seems like the heart anchors them all. So I see, that's what I see when I work with people. And that's when I'm balancing them out. That's what they usually balance out with. And the one other thing I wanted to mention, because I know we have other people and I want to make sure everyone gets a chance to talk, but during her section on each of the chakras, she actually has a little section on healing the chakras.
Oh.
And I think that's so important, because when we're going to talk about chakras or talking about, dysfunction, I always like to see, how do I make this better? It's one thing to know what's wrong with you and know that something's happening, but it's another thing to have the hope of the healing practices that you can do. And I did want to give one more shout out is, I was led this morning, and I feel like I need to say this to people who are going to be listening. While I love to read these books and I love to learn more about healing and healing myself, I just want to encourage everyone who's reading books and learning on themselves to get a guide, get a friend who's doing it with you, or a spiritual mentor, or, you know, whether it's a Reiki practitioner, somebody that you can bounce this stuff off of, because it becomes so overwhelming. And it's happened to me, and I have a spiritual guide, and it just helps me. Every once in a while, you got to pop your head up and just see where you're at on your path, you know, make sure you're still on your path. So I just was led to say that this morning. I just wanted to say that and just say, you know, get a guide or a partner or something to help you along your path and make sure that, you know, you're on your path.
Yeah. When you're working on your own a lot, it's like this. It gets like this. Take it from me. You're in your head. You're like, it gets narrower instead of let someone open you up to other, like, hello, wake up.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it. I heard that one. So quick question. When she talks about healing each of the chakras, does she give you an exercise to do, or affirmations, or both, or what is she doing?
Both, actually. Okay. She gives you, like, depending on which chakra it is. So like the root chakra, I'll just give you one example. The root chakra is all about being in the body and all about caring for the body. So that one is about physical movement. It's about getting up and walking. It's about doing yoga. You know, it's about nourishing your body with good foods. So she gives you those kinds. And then she also has a little section afterwards, which is the affirmations, the positive affirmations.
Cool. Great. So show us the book again, Liz.
Hold on, let me pull it up real quick. My tablet timed out. There it is. So it's so pretty. It's the lotus on the lily pad.
Eastern Body, Western Mind, Psychology and the Chakra System as a Path to the Self. By, I think her name is pronounced Anodea Judith.
Anodea.
Does that sound right? Anodea Judith?
I haven't heard it pronounced, so I'm glad that you know how
I think it is. And she's pretty well known in the online, you know, she's a big presenter with the Shift Network. I'm pretty sure she works with Mind Valley as well. So she puts together these classes for the Shift Network and Mind Valley. And we support that through the Mind Body Spirit Network too. We offer her she calls it Superpower Your Chakra System, I think the name of her course is, and I'll provide a link to that. You can find it in the Mind Body Spirit Network also. So Anodea Judith, everyone that's worked with her loves her. She has a huge following in the energy healing chakra community. So thank you, Liz. Next up is Cheryl Murphy. Cheryl's got a good share today.
Hey, hi everybody. I'm Cheryl Murphy. I'm a spiritual medium and psychic. I am located in California near Los Angeles. I offer readings privately. You know, I do public demonstrations to help people understand that life does continue in the afterlife and love never dies. My book today, it's all about synchronicity. I can't tell you how happy I am to recommend this book today, but her name is Sonia Choquette. And it's called Trust Your Vibes, Secret Tools for Sixth Sensory Living. So Sonia Choquette, you know, this is one of her older books because she's been around a while. She's written several books. I
think 27.
No way. No way.
Oh, I think 27 books.
Of course. Why not? And so Sonia is so relatable, and she's just so down to earth in her teaching. And she calls it the sixth sense, you know, we know sixth sense, this psychic ability, this natural ability that she just creates that we all have. So it's as if she's watering your spiritual garden. And while you're reading this book, you know, you just kind of grow and open and blossom. That's how easy it is to understand her writing. She's funny. She has, once again, like Liz was saying, Sonia also has exercises, meditations, or affirmations at the end of each chapter. But she does tell you like her real life stories about how she came to be an intuitive and how it was natural for her. And she's trying to teach everyone it is natural for us. It's our sixth sense. Some may even say it's our first sense. And Liz, I know you just did an interview with Sonia just recently. So it's like synchronicity, you know, recommending this book.
I mean, she's so emphatic about the significance of trusting your own intuition. It's like, and she thinks it's a problem if you don't. And I'm like, I get it. So, and she's like super passionate about teaching you how to trust your intuition. And she's all about having fun too, which I was talking to her about, Dr. Hawkins' work, and she's familiar with him. And I said, oh, Dr. Hawkins calibrates that spirit guides and guardian angels do exist. And she was like, oh my God, can I use that one? I'm like, of course you can. But then she was talking about her training is like a playground. Like she wants you to have fun. And I'm like, play on the map of consciousness is like 395. It's huge relative to hard working. This is a good one. Hard working on the map of consciousness has the energy level of 200, which is positive, but it's just positive.
Right.
Play is a quantum leap. The energy of play can get you where you want to go a lot faster, way faster.
And
so anyway.
This book, Trust Your Vibes, the reason why I recommend it is, trust your vibes, meaning, trust your heart, trust your gut, trust your sensing, or trust your senses. And it's something that is hugely important in my work, being clairsentient, clairaudient, clairvoyant, in my work as a medium and psychic. And that's what this book also teaches you, but it's about not teaching you to help others, because she wants you to trust yourself first, and trust your own heart. And so she's teaching you kind of how to go inward. And like you said, Liz, it is all about play. And she's just so focused on the heart. You feel it coming off the pages.
Yeah. She's a sweetie.
I just love Sonia Choquette. I just wanted to pipe up real quick.
Yeah.
She is one of my very, very favorite authors and psychics, sense, intuitionists, whatever you want to call her. I found her right when I was first beginning to try to unlock my intuition. Mm-hmm. And I just found it so refreshing. I actually read Diary of a Psychic. I think I've read Trust Your Vibes. I'm not sure. I think it's been a while. But I didn't even realize she had a book that had all the exercises in it. So as I was reading Diary of a Psychic, even though hers are very, from a very young age and mine weren't, she's so welcoming and so open to, like, it is for everyone, and everyone has guides, and you can find them and you can talk to them. And I think it was right around that time that I read that book that I did a meditation and I met some of my guides. I've met some more since then. But I mean, just after reading that book, I was able to just like go into meditation and ask them to introduce themselves to me, and they did. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And so I've loved her ever since. And I love that she wants to play, because I found out when I first started my journey that my inner child basically had left. It was just like, I'm out. I don't like what you're doing here. I'm just going to leave. And you're missing a huge part of that if you don't play, because you got to nurture that inner child. So her books also helped me with that too. So I love Sonia Choquette.
Nice.
So sweet. So
all right. Well, we'll share those. We'll share all those books that we've mentioned in our blog post below, so you guys can find them.
Thank you.
And we'll link to Sonia's Shift Network event right now is about how to develop your psychic abilities and trusting your sixth sense. She calls it your sixth sense superpower. So that's going to be like a 7-week online course that she's doing. And if you listen to this after it's passed, we'll always have links to her so you can find, she's doing stuff all the time. So she's on a mission, and she's loving her mission and having fun all over the world, teaching people about their intuition.
Yeah, just one other thing about her too is, and shout out to her daughters too. One of the things that when I was reading Diary of a Psychic, she raised her children also to listen to their intuition. And so her daughters are carrying the mantle. So they've got their own thing going on too with intuition. And it kind of opened the door for me to help raise my son that way.
Oh.
Raise him in a way that he can still like navigate the world and our Western society, but at the same time, like learn to check in.
Yeah.
Just like, what's your gut telling you? That kind of thing. And that was huge for me to realize that you can do that with your children and not be like, considered crazy or weird or whatever.
Yeah.
So he's a well-rounded kid because he has both abilities.
Mm-hmm. Well, she told me that her mother was super, you've got to trust your, she had 7 kids in her family. Mm-hmm. And her mother taught every single one of them, this is the most important tool you can have. So they grew up with it. This is what it is. And she said that she was like treated badly, because of our generation wasn't quite ready for her
right
at age 12 when she started to do this. And So she's had her share of crap thrown at her, but she's like, yeah, she stood up to it, and she's, you know, she's having a good life. So yeah, teaching us to trust our intuition is a good thing. She took me through a little exercise too in the interview, like put me on the spot. I'm like, okay. And I could totally feel myself close down. I'm like, I even told her, I'm like, I feel it closing down. I feel the heart resisting. The head is totally resistant. And she kind of walked me through it, and it was good. I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to put myself on the spot. It's okay. So
Okay.
it was good practice to see how she trains people how to trust it. Like, you know, she asked me to go to my head. What's going on there? I'm like, resistance. My heart was, she goes, your heart's closed. I'm like, I know, I can feel it. And then my gut was fine. I'm like, oh, my gut feels okay. And so she'd ask me questions. It's kind of interesting to see the simple process we went through to trust our intuition. So anyway, hi, what is it? What's it called again, Cheryl? Trust your vibe. Okay.
Trust your vibe.
Cool. All right. And I totally want to read her book about waking up in Paris, which is a memoir of how she's in Paris now. She's been there for 5 years. And she apparently went through some difficult times, you know, and she ended up, she always wanted to go to Paris. So that's the story of that journey. So I love stories about Paris. So I'm going to pick it up. And I said, we'll share it in our High Vibe Tribe book review. And I told her we already shared Ask Your Guides, Cheryl.
Oh, good.
You already shared. So I told her that. I'm like, oh, we already shared that.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to share a book today, but I need Liz's help with it. So the book I'm going to share today is, hold on, let me share my screen and get it on Amazon here real quick so everyone can see it. It's called, can you guys see it? Yeah, you can see it, right? Tuning the Human Biofield. It's Healing with Vibrational Sound Therapy, and it was written by Eileen McKusick. So the reason I want to share this today is because I interviewed Eileen. It's probably been over a month now. How many classes have you taken with her, Liz? Do you know?
I've taken 3. Tonight will be the 4th. Yeah.
So it's probably been 5 or 6 weeks since I interviewed Eileen, because she is doing an event in a class, which Liz is taking right now with the Shift Network. And it's fascinating what she's doing and how she came about discovering the human biofield and mapping out where all these emotions are getting stuck. So she started as a massage therapist, like part-time, and she's a mother of 3, I think. So, you know, she was just doing this part-time. But at one point she got into some tuning forks, which, if you guys aren't familiar with it, they're metal. They look like a fork, but Liz, can you describe a tuning fork, or do you have one handy?
I have some handy.
Oh, goody.
This is the one she likes to use.
Oh, okay.
174. This is the one, solfeggio tone.
Okay.
You want me to strike it? And
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So that particular tuning fork that she's using has a particular frequency. Is that right? Or
yes.
Sound?
Yes.
Okay. And it's like a megahertz read, like it's a megahertz. What's the megahertz?
Hertz. Yeah.
Do you know what it is?
It's 174. Hertz.
174. Okay. So and you have her book too.
I do.
Okay, so
I'm going to have you talk. I know where it is.
Okay. So I just want to talk about what she discovered when she was doing her massage therapy. She introduced tuning forks at one point, and she started to realize that as she's coming into the body, like let's say she realized that the outer perimeter energy body, which is the biofield, is where you were born. The energy of your birth is on the outer edge of the biofield. And the closer to the body you get, the closer to whatever's going on in present time. So she started to realize that she could feel a particular emotion that's stuck in the energy field, and she could pinpoint the time frame of when it happened, right, Liz? Like she
yes.
could come in at birth and say, okay, you had a traumatic birth. And she'll work with the tuning fork to kind of clear the energy. Mm-hmm. And she kind of describes it as it's like light, but it's just tangled light. It's not darkness. It's just light that's like tangled. So with the tuning fork, she can release it and it moves on. But then she says that there's different parts of the body, like that's related to different emotions, right, Liz? Is that right? So
Absolutely, yeah. The different,
okay.
yeah.
So I wanted to introduce her work because you can do the work on yourself, which is awesome. What's your experience doing it on yourself, Liz? Are you able to feel way out here, or?
I am. I do it the way she does it when I'm working on myself, and that is with intention. She does a lot with intention and intuition too.
Yeah.
As she was learning to do this, she actually gets like images, mental images, and she's able to work with the client as to what that might be, you know, or for them. Like she knows what it is, but like how that might be affecting them. And that's how she was able to map this out. And I did want to put it up here. This is the map she came up with. You can't really see it. And it's proprietary, so I can't like put it up there or anything.
Okay.
Each one of these areas, like say the right knee, is where we hold a lot of our attachments. So when we have issues with attachment, we may have issues with our right knee, and that's part of the energy field where that tangle is going to be. And each time she strikes, and I've heard it, I can absolutely hear it. When you strike it and you move it through the energy field, it will change.
Yeah.
You'll hear the change in the tone of the tuning fork when you're onto something. I'm not to the point where she is, where she can tell what it is, but I know something's there.
So she knows the sound of the issue.
Exactly. She's been doing it so long, right? Yeah. She knows what that issue is. But you asked me how I work on myself. Basically, with intention, I put myself on out in front of me as like a hologram. She calls it the hologram.
Oh.
And so, like on the hologram, I can do the tuning, the Biofield tuning on the hologram, which is myself.
Oh.
So I'm getting the healing.
Yeah.
But I can't hold it like 6 feet out from my right knee.
Right. I was wondering. Geez. Okay.
Right. So I hold it out 6 feet from the hologram, and that's how it works for me to work on myself.
Okay. That's good to know, because I'm going to get the tuning fork. Because I've done this work on my sister, who's on the East Coast. I'm in Colorado. And I didn't use tuning forks because I didn't know about it at the time. I was just doing chakra healing, and I acted as if she was laying on the bed in front of me. So it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I've been playing with these for a while, and now it was so funny. I feel like I manifested this class that she has right now, because I was like, I read the book, I bought the forks, and I've just been playing with them intuitively.
Yeah. And
I thought, you know what, I really need a teacher. And then I talked to Liz, and she's like, oh yeah, I'm interviewing this lady about tuning forks. Her name's Eileen McKusick. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's my lady. You know,
yeah,
she's like,
this is my lady.
And I was like, oh, I'm taking that class. I'm so taking that class.
Yeah.
So
I think certification of that is pretty powerful.
Yes.
And I just have a feeling she's onto something significant there. And
absolutely.
According to the Shift Network, she is the biggest class launch ever of people taking a class of a new person. She had the biggest one ever, and you can see like she's radiating health.
She is
like big time.
Absolutely.
And if you see some of her earlier videos, which I found on YouTube, and she started working on herself, it's like totally different. And one of her affirmations is, I'm in the body of a teenager, or I have the energy of a teenager. And people will say, you look like a teenager, and she's 50 something. So she looks fantastic. And and one thing that really struck me when I was reading her bio is that a lot of us are dealing with issues that they won't go away. Right. And she's like, this gets it unstuck. I'm like, that's huge, to help move that energy. And it's nothing traumatic. It's just untangling it and freeing it. So
what I liked about the book too is that even if you're not already like into your intuition and into like, you know, the energy body, she really describes really well how it all fits together. You know, how the energy field holds these things, and how, you know, all these different quotes from people about how it exists. And, you know, she talks a little bit about plasma and photons, and something that, you know, topics that might be like, what? But when she describes it in the book,
Yeah.
it really, really makes sense. I would say to a layperson, anybody can pick this book up and understand what she's saying.
Oh, cool.
That's what I
Because
like.
some of her lectures on YouTube are for like a student, a practitioner audience where the language is a little more scientific and not everyone would necessarily follow it. But according to Hawkins, Dr. Hawkins' map of consciousness, the science of the biofield is in the 400s. So it's legitimate, it's true. There's power to put your attention and give it credence. And she's mapped out the biofield, and energy healing is also in the 300s. The different, I think Reiki's around, I forget what Reiki is, but it's either 310 or 340. I think it's 340, Reiki, and acupuncture's in the 400s. So there's all, and they're all positively oriented. They're solutions oriented practices. So to put the science of the biofield together with like, Reiki healing or just tuning fork healing, you're going to get results, or you should. You should be getting results with an open mind. I mean, the mind will want to be a skeptic, and skepticism does not calibrate high. So you got to be open-minded and just go with the facts, ma'am.
Yeah.
Here's the facts.
Go with the flow.
So anyway,
I did want to say one other thing, because when I was just playing with it, my mom and my aunt came to visit me. My aunt's also a Reiki master. She's been a Reiki master for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we did a Reiki exchange. Well, my mom wasn't so into the Reiki. So I was like, well, I have these tuning forks, and we'd been walking around, and she has bursitis. And so she's like, well, my hip's kind of bothering me. And I had no idea what I was doing. I just and I don't recommend that at all, but I just intuitively struck it in her biofield around her hip area. Cause I kind of know how, based on what I've seen and read, that how it works around her hips. And she said within 45 minutes, she's like, oh, wow. She got up from the couch and was like, oh, that feels a lot better.
Yeah.
And I was like, yay.
Okay. All right. So Liz, you're loving your course.
I am.
Okay.
I absolutely love her course. I highly recommend it.
Guarantee the Shift Network will come around again with that course because it's, so popular. So I'll provide links to that below this video and a link to her current course, which I'm pretty sure you can still get in on because it's all recorded. And you should be able to, I think, Liz, I've taken a Shift Network course where I can go back and look at previous things because they're done live. And if you miss it, you got to go see it. So
this course, you may be able to take it again just to see what happened in the recorded part.
Yeah.
But the coolest thing about this course is she actually does a half an hour question and answer live.
Yeah.
With us. So she's actually with us for a half an hour. I haven't gotten up the gumption to go up there and ask her a question yet because I haven't had a question. But but people can get on screen and ask her a question or type it in and ask her a question. And afterwards they do this breakout groups, which I haven't been able to attend because the timing isn't good for me. It's really late here on the East Coast.
Oh yeah.
So I have to go and put my son to bed. But it's so you may get it pre-recorded, but to offer this course again and all of that, then that won't be something that's pre-recorded.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So again, what's the name of her book? Do you know off the top of your head? Tuning the Human Biofield? Okay.
And I think something else, there's more to it, Tuning the Biofield. But I also wanted to show you, this is the super slider. This is a weighted tuning fork. Yeah. So it doesn't make a sound. It makes a vibration. So this is the one that you actually put on your body.
Oh.
So if you want to work on your facial.
Is that the one she uses on her body? She has spoken about?
Yeah. This is hers. I bought it for her. Yeah, this is her weighted tuning fork. So this is the one you actually put on your body.
Okay.
Get the
so you hit it and then you rub the body part wherever you want to work.
Right.
Okay.
And that's good because the tuning forks, you have to be careful. You don't want that sound. You want to keep it at least 6 inches away from your ears.
Oh.
Especially people with sensitive ears. So this one you can use wherever.
Okay.
It's not going to hurt your ears.
Oh, nice. Cool. So she said she works on herself once or twice a day, 10 minutes. That's it. Once in the morning, or is it once in the morning, once in the evening, or is it just once in the morning? I forget.
I don't remember what she said, but I know she does work on herself every day.
Yeah.
Tuning forks.
Yeah.
And it's just like self-Reiki. I think once you find something that really works for you, like I do self-Reiki every day and I meditate every day. I mean, that's how she radiates that health is through.
And she said she shed like 20 pounds.
Wow.
Which she doesn't, you know, she wants to say it, but because it's not necessarily everyone's going to have that result, but any type of emotional stuff is typically related to overweightness anyway. So if you get rid of this garbage behind it, it's a good thing. All right.
There's several chakras that will cause you to overeat or withhold or gain weight because of safety issues.
Yeah.
There's just several chakras that weight will be an issue with. So yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Which ones are they, Liz, since you're bringing it up? Root chakra, right?
Definitely the root chakra.
Okay.
I would say, I don't know them all off the top of my head, but the root chakra, the sacral chakra, the solar plexus chakra, definitely the lower chakras are going to cause you to gain weight. It's a safety issue. It's a physical world, lower chakra issues usually.
And I think most, you know, we deal with a lot of, there's a lot of events on empaths and highly sensitive people. And the people that are teaching that have, you know, they're intuitive healers too. And they're like, most people have issues with the lower chakras, especially healer types or sensitive types. Those three chakras, you gotta shore up your foundation because we're up here too much, seemingly.
We really are.
Is that kind of what you found in your work, Liz?
Huh?
Have you found that in your work?
I have. I absolutely have. I found that in my work and in my life. We're all so in our heads, like what you said in the beginning. We're so in our heads trying to figure it out and intellectualize, and you know, we forget to move our bodies. We forget to go into nature.
Yeah, and the power is about being here and being grounded and being in the body.
Yep.
And that's our power. But and once we can learn that Mother Earth is our healer, you know, and our friend and our, you know, a beautiful life force energy to help us, then that's how we manifest, right? We bring more, we manifest more when we're grounded.
Totally. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So lots of good topics today: chakra, sound healing, energy healing, and all vibrational stuff, pretty much.
Yeah.
Cool. We are energy more so than anything else. Spirit, consciousness.
And some water. We're some water.
What's that?
And water.
And water. Yes. Yeah. All right, ladies. Thanks for joining us for our June High Vibe Tribe video book review. And listeners and viewers, please, if you've read any of these books or taken any of these classes, please make a comment below. Follow us on YouTube. We're going to have a podcast. You're probably listening. You might listen to us on the podcast. Please subscribe to our podcast. I promise it's going to launch in June 2019. It has to. I have so many interviews racking up. I got to start getting them out there. Thanks, ladies.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Love you all. Wow.